Hey YouTube, it's Lisa, and I am really going to try to address this question short and sweet, but I'm really not sure how to do it without telling my life story, so I'm going to do my best. So one of the questions that we get, or that we don't actually get it, we get it through the grapevine, but I figured a lot of people are wondering, since I have heard through the grapevine that people are wondering, if our idea to move into an RV with our family of 6 has anything to do with money. So that is a little bit of a two-part question, because initially the whole reason that we're moving into an RV has nothing to do with money at all. It is exactly what I said in my video, where I just realized, hey, we need to have less stuff to take care of. We need to start experiencing life instead of experiencing this big expensive house, and so let's just make it happen. And so if you go back to my very first video, you will see that was when I addressed why we were moving into an RV. Now, once we decided to move into an RV, obviously finances became important, because you have to buy an RV, and then you have to look at like where you're going to park it and how much it's going to cost and everything, and exactly how much you're actually going to be saving. But okay, so let me go back, and I will try not to tell you my whole life story here, but my husband and I have been married for 13 years, and we have 4 kids. And let's see, when we first got married, we were both working. We had no debt. Actually, money was actually pretty good because we had no kids and we lived in an inexpensive area. We moved to a much more expensive area. I quit my job because I ended up having a baby, and we eventually ended up close to $60,000 in debt. My husband was starting to stress out a little bit, and I was still like, oh, he's got it, he understands. And so, and I just didn't realize it was as bad as it was. And then one day I was home and the phone rang, and I answered it, and it was somebody saying, you owe Discover Card. And I was like, what? Well, so then I called my husband at work, and I was like, did we not pay Discover Card? And my husband said, you know what, we're going to pay it when my National Guard pay comes in. And I was like, oh, it was a huge realization for me. Because until then, I had just said, my husband had kept trying to get me involved with the money and kept trying to tell me, and I was like, you've got it under control, I don't want to know, just tell me if everything's okay. And that was the household that I was raised in. So I just, that was the, where my mom didn't know anything, and she would just ask my dad, and my dad would tell her. And unfortunately, my parents didn't end up having good money habits because of that very same thing. And anyway, it was a huge wake-up call for me. And my husband went on a trip that week, the following week, he went on a business trip, and I ended up going to Barnes & Noble and looking through all the books, and I ended up buying Dave Ramsey's book, Financial Peace. And I bought it, and I read it cover to cover while he was gone, and when my husband came home, I said, let's get out of debt. Well, it was an amazing, what a gift for my husband that was, because it was just to have me on board and to have both of us working together. So we started doing the snowball, and first we paid off my student loan. And I know a lot of people say, well, that's ridiculous because your student loan is the least amount of money that you actually owe, and it's actually not considered bad debt versus credit cards. But our credit cards were much harder to pay off because they were much larger. So anyway, we actually did do the Dave Ramsey program exactly the way Dave says to do it, and we ended up paying off all of our debt. So in that sense, we're debt free, so that's great, except we have a mortgage, and after we paid off the debt, we kind of had this relief, and we got a little bit lazy. And if you've done the Dave Ramsey program or you've read about it, he has baby step 1, baby step 2, and so then you're supposed to put increase your emergency fund, and then increase your savings and stuff like that. Well, that was kind of where we started to slide a little bit. We increased our emergency fund, but we just really weren't really focusing on putting that money away. And our house is, our mortgage is actually high. I think it's normal. It's not out of our whatever percentage you're supposed to spend or whatever, because my husband's really good about that type thing. But it is high, and a lot of house maintenance and a lot of things. So it was not lost on us that if we moved out of this house, okay, let me backtrack. I've wanted to sell this house for a long time, but then I realized we really couldn't sell it because unless we did like a contingency when we went to buy another house. So actually the RV thing was just kind of a blessing in disguise, because when I realized, holy cow, we don't even have to, we can live in the RV like while we sell the house, and we won't have to be like looking for a house while we're hoping this house sells. And so we decided, so anyway, so the bottom line is we've already paid off our debt, but we do not have the savings and everything that we would really like to have at this phase in our lives. So it was very interesting to us when we really started to analyze how we were going to pay, how we could actually put away pretty much our mortgage payment while we are in the, while we're living in the RV. So we were planning to put away the mortgage payment, really get caught up on savings and college funds and retirement and all of those things that I would say that we are sitting, not horrible, like, because we are debt free, but not amazing either. So we just thought this is going to just push our whole family into an amazing new direction. And another thing is, once we did get those things solidified, we had eventually thought we might want to adopt, and adoption is really expensive. And we knew that we could, living in an RV, we actually could make that a reality by putting away that kind of money. And then kind of the third way that the money comes into play is, even though we were living in a pretty nice house in a nice neighborhood and everything, we decided that was not really where we wanted to be putting our money. Our kids aren't gonna grow up and go, oh my gosh, we lived in this great house in a nice neighborhood. They're gonna grow up and they're gonna say, you know, we traveled with our parents, we did this with our parents, and it was amazing, and my parents always had time for us. And I don't want to be putting my time into the house. I want to be putting my time into my kids. And I don't want to be putting my money into the house. I want to be putting money into the experience with my kids. And one of the things we realized was that not paying a mortgage for a couple of months, we could literally travel the world with our children. And that was huge. I mean, that was a huge realization, that we could travel the world, have a great retirement so our kids never had to worry about us. And for me, that was all I needed. And so I guess, are we moving into an RV because of money? No. Are there definitely financial benefits to moving? Yes. So that is the answer to that question. And if anyone is interested, I'll probably do it anyway, but leave a comment below if you're interested in knowing kind of the we've finally done all of our financial research. We went from trying to decide whether we were gonna just buy a really cheap RV and try to renovate the inside, or buy a more like upscale RV. And also we found out all about state taxes and the best states to be a resident of if you're gonna be a full-time RVer, and it would not be Colorado. And just a lot of, we've just learned a lot of things. And so I'll probably do a video about the financial breakdown of like how much it costs to live in a campground and all the research we've done. I might be wrong because we haven't actually done it yet, but from the on paper research. And yeah, so that's it. So I wanted to answer the financial question, and I hope that answers it. And I guess that's it. So I will talk to you later, YouTube. Great to be here and great to know you guys. Bye.